Now, someone who's fought firsthand against voter suppression and fought to count every vote in a very narrowly contested election is, of course, Stacey Abrams. In 2018, she came within 1.4 percentage points of becoming governor of Georgia. Today, at a rally with former President Barack Obama, she had a message for Democrats on election eve.
I need you to do two things. Number one, don't panic. Say, don't panic. They're about to turn up the mess. We know that intimidation is on their ballot. We know that suppression is their only weapon. But we know who we are and whose we are, and we are Georgia, and we will win. We're going to call our friends. We're going to harass our neighbors. We're going to call people we owe money, people who owe us money, people we're mad at, people we broke up with. But we are calling every Georgia Democrat, and we're calling them to action.
Stacey Abrams is the founder of Fair Fight Action, co-founder of the Southern Economic Advancement Project. She joins me tonight from Atlanta, Georgia, where polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. I thought, Stacey, the don't panic message was pointed and well taken because, you know, someone just noted here we are on election night. Donald Trump is polling 7 or 8, 9 points down in national poll, high quality polls. Democrats are on the edge of their seats, biting off their fingers, while Republicans are like, it's coming for you. Here comes the Trump train. We're going to blow you out. It's really bizarre when you look at what the actual data is telling us.
Well, look, we had a scare in 2016 that turned into a nightmare for 4 years. And so there is necessarily a great deal of trepidation. No one wants to believe the obvious. But I know that we have done the work of making it safer for voters to cast their ballots, to increase access to voter protection, and to give them opportunities if they have problems to call 866-OUR-VOTE to get some support or to go to iwillvote.com to get answers. But yes, we're going to find anxiety matched with, I would say, overconfidence, and hopefully anxiety wins. Yeah,
our 866-OUR-VOTE. Tamara, you just mentioned safety, and I think this is important. I think I'm someone who, I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm just a journalist. I've worked very, very hard to synthesize as much of the data from back in February through now. I think polling locations where people are wearing, if you're wearing a mask, it's spaced, the lines are outdoors, which I think is largely going to be the case. Most public health experts I've talked to overwhelmingly say this is very, very low risk. Is that what's going to happen in Georgia? And is that what you are telling people who are going to be going to vote tomorrow? And there will be tens of millions of them.
Yeah. So what we tell people, don't panic, but also don't leave. We are going to have socially distanced lines. We are hopeful that we will have lines that move with alacrity. But no matter what, we need voters to understand that they can protect themselves with PPE, but they can protect the future by staying in line and voting. And that's why it's so important for both of these messages to be conveyed. We know that one of the opportunities that the Trump campaign sees is scaring people out of line, convincing them that it's not worth it. And we need people to believe the data, believe the science, but most importantly, believe in the mission, which is casting your ballots and making the choice to change the future of America.
You know, we've seen some sporadic examples of voter intimidation over this early voting period, although in a country where 97 million votes are cast, I think actually relatively few, thankfully. There's this talk about poll watchers being recruited by the Trump campaign. How do you talk about this? Because one thing I think that there's a danger, of course, in amplifying the specter of it as intimidation is that you end up sending a message to be afraid to people, which then sort of furthers their message. And yet there are some untoward activities being undertaken, it would seem. What do you say about this?
That's why I use the phrase don't panic. We know they're going to try to scare voters out of line. But once you're in line, if you're eligible to vote, your vote will be cast and be counted if you don't get out of line. They're trying to use misinformation to force you to overreact. And we need people to understand that this democracy is ours, and we protect it best by showing up and electing people who will defend it, and by ignoring those who would trample on it for their own personal gain. And so our message, don't panic, don't leave.
Polls open